Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Nonsensical Nonsense podcast. I am your host, Kat, and I am so excited. We are on episode 2 now. Episode 1, I learned a lot of things with editing. I learned kind of better idea of what I want to do here. So I think this episode should be a little bit better. I also, as you can tell, you can see my mic now. I got an arm so that it wouldn't be in front of me and it wouldn't be bumping as much, and I could do hopefully a little bit less editing, a little less cutting out of sound or lowering volume, stuff like that. Back for episode 2, we're going to be doing some more Am I the Asshole? And a couple things I just wanted to get out of the way is just saying thank you to everybody who watched or listened. I have it up on YouTube and Spotify. So if you prefer to listen only and you don't really care about the video, it is up on Spotify. So I'll have links in the description and everything and on my social medias. I also have TikTok and Instagram up and running, so I'll be posting some behind the scenes content and stuff like that on there. So please go follow me on there. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, comment the videos. That really does help me out as just a starting YouTube channel. Helps get me in that algorithm so that hopefully we can grow this podcast. Let's just hop right in. We're not going to waste any time. So I tried to pick some funnier ones because last time we got a little bit more serious than I wanted to, but we're just here for the vibes and we'll see how this goes. Okay, so let's get right into the very first Am I the Asshole? Our first Reddit story is from Eternal_Sunshine33. Am I the asshole for moving out of my boyfriend's over salsa? Interesting. Either he is making some really bad salsa or something else is going on. Let's find out. Hey guys, so I've been with my boyfriend for 2 years and he's absolutely wonderful. We're both in college and we live together with a couple other roommates. The place is my boyfriend's mom's vacation house and we all pitch in for rent. Every week, my boyfriend's mom stops by. I work at a restaurant, so I always get free chips and salsa to take home. My boyfriend loves spicy things, so I always grab him spicy salsa, and I grab myself regular as I can't handle spice. Now here's where it gets weird. I've been coming home and go to grab my salsa and notice that all of the salsa has been put into one container. This has been happening for months and results in me being unable to eat it. After asking everyone in the house, including my boyfriend, who's been doing this, everyone was in denial about it. Just a couple weeks ago, I decided to get a security camera to see who's been messing with me and my salsa. Girl takes her salsa very seriously. Guess who is on the camera mixing the salsas together? His mother. So she's been showing up while everyone is gone, looking through our fridge and pulling out all sorts of items and going into our cabinets and getting a bigger container and putting the salsa together. I was not okay. That's just, for me, disrespectful. Like, it is not your house, so why are you touching somebody else's food? Like, you don't need to be touching that. You can go to your house and mix and mingle. But I'm guessing if there's 2 different things of salsa, there's probably a reason for it. One could be older than the other or something like that. You need to keep those things in mind. Like, mixing them together, there could be somebody that has an allergy in the house to something, and one of the salsas has something in it that doesn't. You can't be going into somebody else's fridge and just messing with shit like that. Like, I get that it is her vacation house, but that doesn't matter because they are paying rent. You can't be getting involved. For the longest time, I've been thinking it was my boyfriend messing with me. Needless to say, after accusing him for a long time, this led to a huge argument about how weird his mother is for coming into our space and messing with our stuff. She does this every time she comes over, and I've had enough. So I've told my boyfriend to figure out why she is doing this. He calls her and she says she's making space in our fridge and she's not going to stop. So I'm now sitting here with all my stuff packed and getting ready to get the heck out of here. But my boyfriend is saying I'm being an ass about all of this. Guys, please tell me if I'm the ass here. No, you're not. because this has girl, you're serious about your salsa, but this has nothing to do with the salsa. This is a respect thing. When somebody from our family or our friends visit, they don't go through our stuff. Like, my dad was here over the holidays for two weeks. He felt awkward getting up to go get something from the fridge, like grab a can of pop from the fridge, like, even though, like, when he's in our house, like, it's like his house, like, it to us it doesn't matter, but it's a respect thing. You cannot go into somebody's space and do that. You don't know why things are the way they are, because it's not your space. And yes, your son is there, but there are other people living there that have no relation to you. What if that was their food that you're messing with? Everything about this is your mother-in-law, well, I guess not mother-in-law, but your boyfriend's mother being a psycho, and your boyfriend not understanding why that's not okay. So no, you're not the asshole. You're allowed to be upset about this. It is totally fair, and I would be in the same place you're in right now. I would be so frustrated. I would not have posted this while I was sitting there with my bags packed, but maybe she's also just being a little overdramatic. Maybe it's not quite that. You cannot do that. These are people paying rent. You shouldn't even be going into that house without everybody being okay with it, or without 24 hours notice. I don't know where you live, so I don't know what the tenant rules are, but where I live, you need to give your tenant notice to be able to enter their space. And these people are tenants in your house. They are paying rent regardless of if there is a rental agreement or not. They are tenants and they have rights. So, girl, no, you're not being overdramatic. You're not being nice. You're not being anything. Your boyfriend needs to grow a set of balls and tell his mom, stop doing that. And I think everybody else in the house needs to have your back on this one as well. So for our second one, this one is really, really recent. Like, it was only posted when I'm filming this on the website 56 minutes ago. So our second Reddit story is from _silly_bing_bong_. The title is, Am I the for ghosting my teen pregnant friend after she ruined my graduation party? Oh, teen drama is just, I don't know how to explain it, especially like female teen drama. If you are not in that space, like, everything in your world is so over dramatic and so amped up to 500 because you have so many hormones going through your body. You have not gotten to figure out what to do with them yet. I'm really hoping that there's more than just like a ruined graduation party, because yeah, like, graduation is exciting and stuff like that. It's important to graduate, but the party, at the end of the day, like, most likely you're gonna forget about this in a couple years, and I'm really hoping that you didn't ruin a good friendship over just a teen party. Like, there has for sure been times where when I was a teenager, I was a psycho and I threw away some good friendships over stupid things. So let's find out. I, 19 female, graduated in 2024 and had my graduation party in the middle of July. I had lots of family and friends coming, and I was really excited to finally have my special day about me. I spent days decorating and making sure everything was perfect before my big day. Again, I get that right now this is like a big day and it's exciting and stuff like that, and I don't know all the background between you and like school. Like, maybe there's a reason you're so excited for this. I think that you will grow up to realize that, like, high school graduation, while important, is not your big day. It's not your special day. Like, there is so many other things in your life that will happen that will just be so much more important to you. At first, everything was going very smoothly until my one friend showed up, 19 female, who I'll call Mary. It's a fake name. Mary was my friend from a different school that I had known for about 2 years. I know she has a much harder life than I, but I was always there to be a shoulder to lean on. However, this was my day that I worked hard for, and I didn't want to be a shoulder to cry on this one time. Since this will be too long if I try and tell everything, here is a condensed list of everything she did at my grad party. That is fair. Like, there is some friends or acquaintances that you know, that you meet throughout your life, that really gotta do the little box right now. Did you just wink at me? So if this is your graduation party and it is a day that is supposed to be about you, your friends coming in there, unless this is a major, like, life or death, something happened, and even then, don't show up and just bring it to somebody on the other day. But there is always going to be those people you meet in life that every single thing in their life is a struggle, and it's exhausting, honestly. We had this one person that we worked with for a very short time, and in that time I think they had more accidents and this happening to them, that happening to them, all big stuff, than anybody I had known had happened to them in the last 10 years. Some people might just be have really bad luck, but I feel like a lot of things, like, it's like, no, something else is going on here. And to me, it sounds like this girl might be one of those where it's just everything is, woe me, my life is hard, blah, blah, blah. So let's find out what she did at this grad party. 30 minutes after arriving, she told me she wasn't feeling well. I offered her one of the bedrooms inside to rest in and some medication to help her feel better. Instead of taking this, she declined the medication, and once I went back outside, she proceeded to lay on the ground inside the main room of the house that many guests were in. Once she started feeling better, she told me that she had a Shein package delivered that day that she was too excited to open. So she had her mom drop the package off at my party and forced me to go away from the party and watch her package haul for over 20 minutes. See, that I would just be like, no, like, I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of something here. Like, we can do this after the party if you really are that excited. You can go open it if you want upstairs separate. But I'm in the middle of a party here. And I get now that I'm older, like in my 30s, it is way easier for me to be that person. As where when I was 19, I probably would have done the same thing you did, where, oh yeah, sure, I guess I can do that, thinking it'll be a 5-10 minute thing, and it really wasn't. I had an after party with just my friends outside my house after the main family part. When we all got there, she snapped a photo of my boyfriend and brothers and posted it to her Instagram story without anyone's consent, purposefully only getting the men in the video when there were many other women. Once her boyfriend saw the post, he started spamming her phone to start a fight with her and insulting my BF and brother. She got on a call with him and screamed at him on the phone for a little bit in the middle of everyone hanging out. Yeah, somebody should have gotten this girl and removed her. Been like, if you want to go fight with your boyfriend, you need to not be here. We're not doing this right now. Then she went inside and my parents came out 10 minutes later asking me to control my friend, and when I walked inside, I could hear her screaming upstairs. I ran up there and found her laying in my bed under the covers. We were not close like that, screaming at her boyfriend still. Jesus, that is so many kinds of toxic. She kept me up there for a whole hour because she decided it was the perfect time to tell me that her boyfriend was cheating on her, having me comfort her. My friends kept texting me asking where I was, and I felt too guilty leaving her alone in that moment. Nah, you can't feel guilty about things like this when it's like she is so clearly desperate for any kind of attention and can't stand when the attention is on somebody else. If you do not force yourself to be first, then you're never going to be first. It's always going to be you after her. I let her borrow my new bottle of makeup remover and she used all of it somehow. How? When she rejoined the party, she sat there crying and sulking, and if someone asked if she was okay, she'd say something like, no, but I don't matter, or something cringe. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but I've known girls like this where it's like, come on, like, you're not helping yourself. Like, you're making yourself look worse. You're not making anybody else look worse. You're making yourself look bad. My parents told me I had to kick her out and she didn't have a ride because she was planning on spending the night and making me take her home in the morning, which I did not know was the plan. So I had to buy her an Uber to make her leave. That's a no. Like, her mom already came to drop something off to her. Why couldn't her mom pick her up? Why couldn't somebody else at the party drive her? Why couldn't you paying for an Uber is just a no. She can, maybe this is a privileged thing to say based off where I grew up, but she can walk her home. For all I care, you're leaving my house. I never reached out to Mary after that, thinking she got the vibe the friendship was over. However, I just received a text from Mary telling me she is pregnant with her ex's baby and she was having the roughest time of her life, which I need to support her through. To be honest, I could not care less about Mary and her unborn baby, nor do I want anything to do with her craziness. Obviously, during my graduation party, she was going through it, but I just don't want to be in this friendship anymore. After my graduation was my final straw. Does that make me the asshole? No. Hands down, I don't think anybody can say that you are the in this situation, because this is some unhinged behavior. And like I have known people like this. I grew up with people like this. There's people in my hometown that were like this. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Like it gets bad, and they will keep abusing that friendship as long as they can. So you're right to cut ties with this girl as soon as possible. Personally, I am not the best at conflict, and you can do one of two things. You can just ghost her and not answer her, but she knows where you live, and judging by her reactions, I am willing to bet that she might show up at your house. It sounds like something she would do. I would just send her a message and be like, hey, I'm really sorry that you're going through a tough time. I have a lot going on in my life right now, and I just don't think that this friendship is going to work out. I wish you the best, but I'm gonna have to move on with my life. It's not fair to you to have to deal with that at all. So don't feel bad about cutting somebody like this out of your life. I know, because I'm really bad for this. I will keep talking to people even when I've realized that they're not good for me. You can get past it, and you can cut these people out of your life. So as funny as some of the shit she did is, I'm sure it was not funny in the moment, but you're gonna have a great story to look back on and laugh when you get older. You are going to find this absolutely hilarious. Okay, our next Am I the Asshole is from an account called Throwaway137111. So throwaway account, they really don't want you to know who they are. And this one, I just read the titles for these. I don't read them ahead of time because I want my genuine reaction on camera. I think it's more entertaining that way. But this one, my genuine reaction when I saw it was, I mean, you're not wrong, but you're not right either. So it's, am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend her period is not an excuse to be rude 24/7? And I 1000% agree. Like, girls that use like, oh, I'm on my period, and are just bitches 99% of the time. No, you're just a bitch 24/7. Like, whether you have your period or not, you suck as a human. So it's one of those things where, like, as a girl, when I say it, people don't tend to have the same reaction as when a guy says it, because when a guy says it, it's just misogyny and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, maybe you're using your period as an excuse to be a psycho. Like, maybe you're using your period as an excuse to be a bitch. You ever think of that? So we have 25-year-old male told my girlfriend, 22 female, that just because she was getting her period doesn't mean that she could be as mean and rude as she wants. We normally have a great time together and I love being around her. But then that time of the month comes around and it feels like she's becoming a different person. She gets really upset at me, and if she doesn't get exactly what she wants, she will ignore me, ask me nonstop for nudes, and get really fucking bratty if I say no. Respond to my message with K and basically treat me like I'm nobody to her. I've done my best to be understanding because I understand it's a difficult time for a woman, but we're going on 4 years together now, and I've gotten to the point where I literally dread her getting her monthly visitor because it literally makes me feel like she hates me, and of course she gets angry when I bring it up. Was I wrong for telling her? No, you weren't. Yes, there is a certain level of hormonal shift that happens when you get your period, and obviously when you're first getting your period, that is going to be a lot more dramatic because you haven't ridden the dragon yet. You haven't gone through that process of figuring out what is and isn't working for you and that kind of thing. I know when I was younger, I got horrible cramps. I didn't know how to control my emotions as much, and I was probably a little bit of a crazy person when I was getting my period. Now, at my age now, I may still get those hormonal shifts, and looking at something stupid, especially watching things super happy, like really happy things, like good positive things, make me bawl my eyes out for no apparent reason. It's not sad things that really get me as much, but the super happy, like, oh my god, this is a great moment for you in your life, that is what makes me cry. And they're one of those things, but if I need to, I can hold that back. Like, I can stop that from happening. For you to be especially demanding nudes from this guy, grow up. Just grow up. You don't need to be doing that. But also, like, I don't care who you are. That is sexual harassment. For you to demand it and then be like, oh, when he doesn't want to send them, that is sexual harassment. I don't care that there's no touching going on, there's no nothing. Like, if he was doing the same thing to you, like, say once a month he gets really, really horny and he just wants nude pictures of you, which you're grown up, just go have sex if that's the case. I don't know. Why do you need nudes? I never understood the thing. But anyway, if he was doing that to you, you would be livid. You would be so mad. So don't do the same thing to him. And he is not the asshole at all. I'm just looking through the comments and pretty much everybody is saying not the asshole. People are saying not the asshole, which I totally agree with. There is some people being like, hey, there could be something, like, if this is that extreme, there could be something worse going on and you might want to get her to see a doctor if you can, which I agree with. Like, if this is that insane of a mood shift, like, there is another, I can't remember what it is, but there is another thing besides like PMS that is just insanely intense emotions, and you need to be medicated to regulate those hormone influxes and stuff like that. So yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Somebody says PMDD and they take Prozac for it. And even they're like, this is not your fault. It's not her fault if that is what she has. And she's not just using PMS as an excuse to be a psycho. But they're saying, like, not my fault, not her fault, but you're not an asshole for saying it. You cannot live like that. You need to feel safe talking to your partner at any time in the relationship. So for you to say once every 3 weeks you feel uncomfortable around your partner, that is way too much time. That can't happen, and she needs to figure it out or something if you guys want to have a successful relationship. Okay, for Am I the Asshole number 4, we have a post from Nightwing_112. Am I the asshole for calling out my uncle in front of everyone after making weird comments on my girlfriend's looks and being too touchy? Whew. From the get-go, no, you're never going to be the asshole in my eyes if you do something like that. So basically, at a family barbecue last weekend, my uncle, mid-50s, kept making creepy comments about my girlfriend, Kate, 21, female, who I invited. That is a huge age gap. You're dating her, not your uncle. He shouldn't be saying anything. Or touching her. How hard is that these days? Like, I don't get it. At first, it was backhanded compliments like, wow, you're way too pretty for him. But then it got worse. I would have snatched you up back in the day, and must be a struggle to compromise for me. He even joked about how my girlfriend must get hit on all the time and how I should keep an eye on her. Ugh. I feel disgusting just reading this. On top of that, he was being way too touchy, putting his hand on her lower back, touching her arm when he laughed, and even leaning in way too close while talking to her. My girlfriend was clearly uncomfortable and tried to brush it off, show me privately that it made her uncomfortable. No. Like, as somebody who, with the people I know, I'm kind of touchy, but like if I don't know you or I know that you're uncomfortable with touching, like just don't touch people you don't know. It's not that hard. Like, there's people that I have known for a while now, and even I don't want to give the wrong impression ever. Like, I don't want to make somebody feel uncomfortable, so I just don't say anything. I don't do it. Like, it's not that hard to not be a creepy human being. I don't understand this. I confronted him in front of everyone, straight up calling him a creep and telling him to knock it off in a loud way. He got defensive, saying he was just joking, and my mom told me I was out of line for embarrassing him like that. No, 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 no. If he is embarrassed by how he's acting, he should not act that way. If you don't want to be called out by somebody, don't act like a shitty human. It's not that hard. I don't get it. Some family members agreed with me, but others think I overreacted and should have handled it privately, since everyone knows him as a joker and just loves making conversation, which he is good at. Some male cousins of mine are insisting I was jealous and exaggerating stuff because my uncle talked to their partners too, and they didn't have any complaints like Kate. Okay, but just because they don't have any complaints doesn't mean that it wasn't making Kate uncomfortable. And if it's making Kate uncomfortable, he should stop. Like, he does not know this person, so why is he okay to act like this? And I hate this, oh, he's just a joker. I don't care. That joking was not okay back in the day. It's not okay now. Like, you can't make these comments and act like that and then expect everybody to just be okay with it. Like, this is a younger woman who is not going to be okay with some random 50-year-old that she does not know touching her and making these comments. So just don't. And if you don't want to be called out for shitty behavior, don't do shitty behavior. And your family making excuses for him pisses me off. Like, my uncle said he was just making jokes and he didn't mean any of them. And he is really disappointed that I looked at him as that kind of guy. Am I the asshole for calling him out publicly instead of pulling him aside? No, he needs to know that some people are not going to be okay with this. And I don't care how well you know him. I don't care unless that woman that you were saying that shit to has already said that she is okay with joking like that and like engaged with it, anything like that. Don't say those things. It's not that hard. Yeah, everyone in the comments is just like, you're not the asshole, your uncle sounds like a creep, and your family has just been enabling it this whole time, which is true. Like, it really sounds to me like your family is just okay with him acting this way, and I don't understand that. Like, how are you okay with somebody being like this? If this person was in my family, I would not be hanging around that person. Like, I do not care if we are family, friends, whatever. If you are going to be a creep, I am not going to be around you. As simple as that. So am I the asshole number 5 for tonight? We have Flaky-Tie 5396. And theirs is, am I the asshole for calling the guy I'm talking to a dumbass? I mean, was he being a dumbass? Because if he was, no, you're not wrong. And if he can't take it, then you're probably not meant to be together anyway. Not that age matters in this case, but I'm 24 female and he's 28 male. I work with kids for a living, and a lot of my students have been out sick, so I knew it was bound to hit me sooner or later. Next thing I know, I'm out for 2 days and with acute tonsillitis. So basically, super painful, swollen tonsils, coughing, running nose, sneezing, normal cold symptoms. Him and I were supposed to hang out, and I told him I couldn't because I was sick, and told him all my symptoms, and he said, sneezing, that's a new one. And I was like, yeah, when you get sick, your nose gets irritated, so you sneeze. And he said, never heard of somebody sneezing while sick. What? This guy might be a dumbass. And I said, well, I am, and played it off in a funny way, then moved on with my day. Then later on, he brought it up again, saying sneezing whilst being sick is so weird to him. And I was like, I can't control the fact that I sneeze. He said he even said This is really badly written, and I'm gonna obviously put the text up, but I'm just gonna correct things so this makes sense. He even said, I have known a lot of people and none of them have ever sneezed while sick. Now, listen, I know this whole conversation is pretty petty but at this point, I'm just fed up, in pain, and just want to go to bed. So I said, well, good for you guys, but almost all people I know sneeze every few colds or so. Then he said, yeah, it's probably a insert where I live thing. Then I said, sneezing is actually a universal thing. He said, no, it's just a insert where I live thing. So I called him a dumbass and I haven't opened his message yet. Am I the asshole? Oh my God. No! Has he not even seen a commercial? It is on like every advertisement for like cough and cold medication. It's like fever, runny nose, sneezing. Like those are pretty common cold symptoms. How has he never known somebody to sneeze? Has he just not related the fact that he's sneezing with having a cold? Like, maybe he's one of those people that just like has allergies like all year long, so he's just constantly sneezing, so like he doesn't equate the fact that he might be sneezing a little bit more when he's sick with the fact that he is sick. But wow, that is a stupid thing. Like, a Google search, my dude, before you say something. Just be like, oh, that's weird, I've never noticed. Or just be like, wow, that's weird, I never thought about the fact that you sneeze when you're sick or whatever. But then to bring in the like, oh, it's a where you live thing. What, my dude? What are you talking about? Somebody literally commented, not the asshole, I can't imagine dying on this stupid of a hill in the year 2025 when Google exists. He's stupid for thinking sneezing when sick isn't a thing, and he's even dumber for not just Googling it to save himself future embarrassment. Somebody replied, are you really that shocked? 90% of the BS I see people post and argue can really be cleared with a 30-second Google search. Hell, AI will even do it for you and summarize. Like, that's so true. Like, I am somebody that as soon as I read something online, like, I normally am Googling it pretty quickly. Like, I have basically learned how to do my job based off Googling. Like, I can just figure things out. And if I don't know something, I might be like, oh, weird. Like, you sneeze when you're sick? Like, if I didn't know that and somebody was like, yeah, you sneeze when you're sick. Jesus Christ. Your car is very loud, my dude. If I had somebody being like, yeah, you sneeze when you're sick, have you never noticed that? Like, I would Google it so I don't look like a dumbass. It's not. Please do not keep seeing this guy, because I don't think he's very smart, and I feel like it might just lead to more and more fights between you over stupid things. Our next one is from no_put755, and this one is labeled asshole, so it should be entertaining. Am I the asshole for how I handled my son's girlfriend spending the night? I have 2 children, Donna, 21 female, and Austin, 19 male. Both live at home, but also stay on campus at their respective colleges. Austin has a girlfriend, Bridget, whom he's been dating for nearly a year. Early on in their relationship, Bridget stayed over once while Donna was at school, and with Donna's blessing, Bridget slept in Donna's room, and Austin stayed in his own. They chose to sleep separately, and there was no drama. This winter break, both kids were home. Towards the end of the break, Bridget returned from out of state and couldn't move back into her dorm yet. Austin asked if she could stay with us for a few days. I agreed, but mentioned we'd need to figure out the sleeping arrangements since we don't have a guest room. Just mine and my husband's room, Austin's and Donna's. Austin said he and Bridget now share a bed, but with his twin bed, it would be a tight fit. Donna has a full-size bed, so I suggested Donna and Austin switch rooms temporarily. Donna could use Austin's bed, and Austin and Bridget would stay in hers. I assured Donna I'd change the bedding afterwards, but she was visibly upset and asked why Austin couldn't just sleep on the couch. I told her it was only a few days, and since Austin wanted to share a bed with Bridget, this arrangement made sense. When Bridget arrived, everything seemed fine at first. That night, Bridget went to bed early, and Donna pulled Austin aside in the kitchen. I couldn't hear the start of their conversation, but Austin suddenly started yelling, "Shut up! Why would you say that?" before storming into the living room. He loudly announced he never invited Bridget back if everything is such a problem. When I asked what happened, Austin explained that Donna asked him not to have sex with Bridget in her bed. He claimed he had no intention of doing that and accused Donna of being weird and trying to cause trouble. Donna said she had purposely tried to talk to Austin quietly to avoid a scene and hadn't said anything to Bridget. She also said it wasn't unreasonable to ask given that she knew Austin and Bridget were sexually active. I told Donna she didn't need to make such a big deal since I'd already promised to watch the sheets. Donna became upset and ended up staying with a friend for the rest of the break. School has since resumed, but Donna has barely responded to my calls or texts. Austin told me Bridget overheard the argument and now feels uncomfortable being in our house or around Donna. My husband said Austin caused the scene by yelling and pointing out that Donna wasn't out of line for making her request. He also said I should never have let Bridget stay in the first place. Am I the asshole? I don't know about this one. I think everyone's kind of an asshole in this situation except maybe Donna and Bridget, to be honest. So OP, you should not have offered up your daughter's bed without checking with her. You probably should have checked with her before allowing Bridget to stay. And if Bridget did want to stay and Donna said no to switching beds, then yeah, Austin could have slept on the couch or something. Like, there was other options. Yeah, twin bed may not be super comfortable, but people have shared twin beds before. That is a thing. I don't know how big Bridget and Austin are, but yeah, that's a thing. I think your husband has a point that it's a fair thing for Donna to bring up, because if she does know her brother is sexually active, I would hope that you wouldn't have to mention that to your sibling to not do that. But also, I don't know, like, I have had my sister and her husband stay at my house, and it's not something I've ever thought to even bring up because it just seems pretty straightforward. Again, they are, I guess, dealing with like younger, like still technically teenagers, but still, I would hope that he wouldn't have to bring it up. Your husband for saying like, oh, you shouldn't have let her stay with us. I don't really like, if you guys all get along and stuff like that, what is the harm in telling her that she can stay with you guys? There really isn't one in my mind. He's just saying that now after the fact. Like, I'm sure when she originally said it, like, he was fine with it. He didn't say anything. Austin, for highly overreacting when it was brought up to him that his sister feels like this way. Like, all he needed to say to his sister was, do not worry. Nothing is going to happen while we're sleeping in your bed. Like, I respect you, and that would never happen. It didn't need to be this big blow-up thing, but I do think that OP is an asshole in this situation, because from the way she tells this story, she is not putting any respect, any thought, anything into how her daughter feels. And like, I get that previously Donna wasn't staying there and she was okay with Bridget sleeping in her bed, but now you're asking for the two of them to sleep together, and then you just saying like, oh, but I promised I would change the sheets and wash them. And it's like, but that's still not, you're not gonna get everything out. Like, I hate to say it. I get where Donna is coming from, and I don't think Bridget is the asshole in this situation either, because like, she's just asking to stay a place, and she didn't know about all this family drama and stuff like that. And I get why she wouldn't want to stay in that house again after that. That's not surprising at all. Somebody just commented and said, why don't you let Austin and Bridget sleep and have sex in your bed? If you're not okay with that, why not? Somebody responded with, she can just wash the sheets. Like, exactly. Like, if you wouldn't want them sleeping in your bed, why would you just offer up your daughter's bed? That is what I don't get. It is still your daughter's room. She still technically sleeps there, so you should have at least asked her before you said anything. It really wouldn't have taken much to just ask. It's not that hard. Next we have one from Chant Decliner, and it is, am I the asshole for laughing when my friends told me the baby name they picked? I mean, if it's stupid. Also, I just want to put this out here now. I am pretty horrible with pronunciation of names. I can read quite well, but because of some things that happened when I was younger with my reading and writing, I got my reading back and I can read fine, but just pronunciation and stuff like that is not my strong suit, either spelling. But yeah, so let's I'll do my best to pronounce these names, but yeah, they will be on screen in the text if you do actually want to read it. My best friend, I will call her Kay, is pregnant, and we've been friends forever, like since middle school. They've been talking about baby names for weeks and just throwing out ideas for fun. She even joked about some really insane names, and we laughed about how some people pick the most cringe stuff. So I thought we were on the same page about what was reasonable. Fast forward to a few days ago, Kay tells me they finally picked a name, and it's something straight out of Genshin Impact or Skyrim. Not the real name, but think Zapier, Rocket, or Banjo Fox. I honestly thought she was messing with me, so I laughed. Not like a mean laugh, but just a genuine reaction like, wait, shut up. What is the real name? But no, that was the real name. She got super quiet and was like, that is the name. I could tell immediately I messed up, so I tried to backpedal, but she kind of looked hurt and changed the subject. Later, a mutual friend told me she was upset and thought I was being rude. Now the real tea is that she had a small kickback with our friend group and didn't invite me. Like literally everyone else was there. I found out after the fact, and it's hard not to feel like it's because of the baby name thing. I really didn't mean to be rude, but I genuinely thought she was joking based off our past convos. Am I the asshole for laughing, or is she just overreacting? This is my best friend. If this is your best friend, I'm sorry, but you're allowed to tell people that their baby choice names are fucking weird or laugh at them. Some people need to hear that. If I was gonna name my baby something stupid that would get that kid mocked all through fucking school, I would want somebody to tell me that I might want to reconsider that. And to laugh, especially if you had had a previous conversation about it, then it's not unreasonable to think that you would laugh if she came up with some ridiculous name. That is okay. I don't see the problem with that. Now, I get why she's hurt, because it was probably something she was really excited to share with you, and it probably did hurt that you laughed. Let's be honest, it probably did hurt her that you laughed. But she has to understand that if her best friend has that reaction, so many other people are going to have that reaction, whether they show it or not. Like, people are going to be talking about your kid's name behind your back. And if you're fine with that, and if you can raise a kid and pray to anything you worship that this kid can make it through without being mocked, that is fine. You have to understand that that's a possibility. And if you're going to pick a ridiculous name, know that this might happen. It's not something to drop your friend over. At the end of the day, I get it. It's your kid's name. But would she be there to care for your kid regardless of if she thinks the name is silly or not? Like, would she be there to help you with the kid? Like, that's what really matters in these situations. So, and it's definitely one of those things. After you laughed, you should have found a better way to play it off. I get that it may have been shock. You may have just not known what to do, but you have to play it off somehow. Like, yeah. So you're not the asshole. Don't worry. You're not. But you might want to have a serious conversation with your friend. Somebody commented, "Don't come for me, but pregnancy hormones require the help of a village when it comes to baby naming. I'm over here at 6 months along thinking Digit, Elrond, and Lucky are the best names ever. Thankfully, my people check me daily, and my kids won't be named after a mainstream Tolkien character or one of the sample dogs from Nintendogs. Not the asshole, and are a good friend you are. That poor kid." And that's so true. Like, especially when you have pregnancy hormones, that shit does so many different, like, I have had so many friends that have had kids, and just some of the ridiculous shit they have said to me or thought, or like just shit that happens when you're pregnant. You should be happy that your friend called you on it, because once you're out of that, like, you may look back and be like, wait, what the fuck was I thinking? Why did I want to name my kid that? Am I crazy? So, yeah. Yeah, I guess you'll find out. Our next one is from Orny-Assumption-54, and it's, am I the asshole for calling my cousin a bitch? This is marked everyone sucks. So, again, like I said in my first episode, the everyone sucks ones are my favorite because they really are just a laugh every time. My cousin and I had an argument about me calling my female cousin a bitch, and she said it was disrespectful. Obviously, I knew it was kind of childish, but as an excuse for my actions, I insult my family as a way to show them I love them. She then said that calling her a bitch was disrespectful because she was a female. I found this strange because not only has she called me a bitch and swearing at men for years now, she and many others also taught me how to swear by swearing at me. I also found it unfair how she targeted me in this situation and not the other people that call her a bitch. So really, really short one. Yeah, as somebody who definitely has friendships where, like, my best friend, we insult each other all the time. Like, we are constantly insulting each other. There has been many a times people have said that it sounds like we hate each other. And it is just our friendship. And if she is calling other people bitches, like, I wish I had the context for why he had called her a bitch, or she. I'm not sure if this is female or male, but I wish I had the context for why this person was called a bitch in the first place. Like, was it in a joking manner and, like, kind of like, oh, you're such a bitch, like that kind of thing? Or was it like, no, you're a bitch? Those are two very different words, in my opinion. There's some nuance here, and I wish the person had given us more, because it's almost impossible to know who's wrong in this situation. And the only other thing I can see is they replied to one of the comments and said, I do agree it is toxic, but this is how most of my family show love. We insult each other as a joke. We don't mean the jokes. It's just how we are. Like I said, I found it unfair how she only targeted me on this subject. And I agree with that. Like, if this is just a normal way your family communicates with each other and she is only pointing it out to you that it's wrong that you do it, that's not fair to you. So, yeah. I kind of agree with everybody's the asshole in that situation, but honestly, without full context of, like, why you said that thing, it's really hard to judge that one, you know? Okay, so those are all the ones I originally had planned, but we still got some time here, I feel like. So let's try and get a couple more done. All of them have been pretty short this episode, so let's try and get through a couple more. So we have one here from Rideco, and this is, am I the asshole for asking my wife to taste my food before she starts adding stuff to it? This is one of those things I will say as somebody who loves to cook for other people. I don't mind if you want to add hot sauce or salt or pepper or whatever the hell it is. Like, I have one of my roommates add salt to almost anything, because I grew up in a household where my mom didn't add salt really to anything. She was really sensitive to the taste of salt. So, like, I didn't grow up eating a lot of salt, so I taste it pretty easily in things now. So I tend to undersalt, though I am getting better. For a while, I tended to undersalt things. Now I'm getting better, and she doesn't add as much, but almost every time I would cook a meal for us roommates, she would be one adding salt to it. But she would always try it first. Like, she'd try a bite and then be like, oh yeah, it needs a little bit of acidity, blah, blah, blah. So that's fair. So yeah, to just start adding things to a meal before you even know what it tastes like is a bit of a weird thing to do, and also, in my eyes, kind of disrespectful. Let's see what he has to say. I cook for my family of 4 almost every night. I have a wide range of dishes I can make, and whatever I cook for people outside my family, they always go out of their way to tell me how much they enjoy the meal. pretty much regardless of what it is. I even know a chef who currently runs a kitchen, and he told me I have serious chops, especially for a home cook. That's actually pretty good. I mean, chefs, they'll tell you if something's bad, but also, again, if he is one of your friend, he might just not want to hurt your feelings. My family, on the other hand, is used to my cook, and I think they take it for granted. I don't think they realize that not everyone cooks like this. Honestly, the hardest part for me isn't making the food, it's deciding what to make. Every day, I ask my family, what do you guys want? Is there anything specific I can make for you? Tonight, my wife suggested chicken noodle soup. Easy enough. And then she said, or maybe chicken and rice soup. That got my mind going. I decided to make a creamy chicken and wild rice soup thickened with bechamel sauce to give it a rich, velvety texture. Holy crap, that sounds delicious, and I want to try making something like that because that sounds so good. My lactose intolerant would probably hate it, but we don't give up on ourselves in this house, and we push through the lactose intolerance to eat shit that tastes good. About 1 hour and 45 minutes later, the soup turned out amazing. Like, really freaking good. And I'm my own worst critic. I let the family know dinner was ready. No teenagers came out of their room. My wife was just hanging out watching TV, so I figured I'd finish cleaning up the last few things I hadn't gotten to while cooking, so the kitchen would be ready to go. By the time I was done, my wife finally wandered in and got a bowl of soup. Without even tasting it, she immediately reached for the cayenne pepper and started shaking it into her bowl. All I said was, hey, what are you doing? You haven't even tasted it yet. She got pissed off and just walked off. So am I the asshole for asking my wife to at least try the food as it's presented before dumping cayenne into it? No, you're not. It sounds to me like she might like spice more than you. Maybe that's why it's specifically cayenne. But yeah, like have a taste of it. You might like it before you put something else into it. You don't know until you try it. This whole like somebody worked hard on the meal for you, and regardless of if you like it or not, like you should at least try it the way they cooked it. It is my belief. It's just a common courtesy thing. Like I don't care what you're making. I don't care if you spend 5 minutes cooking it or what. If it's something you made that did not come out of a box, then people should try it regardless. It's fair. I get she may just want it spicier because, again, the cayenne makes me think she just wants it spicier. Like, it's not like she was putting, like, salt and shit in it. I get why you might be annoyed by this and it is unfair to you, but that is the life of, like, if you cook, do it for yourself. At the end of the day, like, yeah, ask your family what they want and stuff like that, but you went out of your way to make this soup the way you want, which is fine. That is totally fine. You're allowed to do that, but you have to accept the fact people may not have wanted exactly that when they want chicken soup. Like maybe they were thinking like something more traditional, that kind of thing, whatever it is. And the whole teenagers not coming out of their room, like I don't know about your household. That wouldn't have gone well in my house. Like if you were home as a teenager at dinner time and mom called dinner or dad called dinner, you got your ass some food. Like that was just what happened. So I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on it. Everybody in the comments is saying like not the asshole. That's just like pretty much what I was saying. And no matter how much training you have as a cook, like I have worked in hospitality for my entire working career, and there is always going to be chefs. Like you can have chefs making things for other chefs and they are great chefs, and I have still seen certain chefs add salt to things or add hot sauce to things, like stuff like that, especially when it comes to hot sauce, because when you are cooking for a group of people, unless you know all those people like spicy things, like I know in my house that we are a spicy family. So I will make things spicy. However, when my mom was alive and I would go back home and like I wasn't cooking for my roommates or anything, my mom could not tolerate spice at all. She was the kind of white that pepper was spicy to her. How I got my spice level, I have no idea. I relate it to my best friend being Indian and her constantly feeding me spicy things and us going out for spicy things and us just putting sriracha on our whole entire fucking life. But my mom was not that person. She could not tolerate spice at all. So when my dad would cook, and my dad likes a little bit of spice, not as much as me, but my dad likes a little bit of spice, he would make a separate thing of like chili, especially chili. He would make a separate thing of chili for my mom because like before he added all the hot sauce and the spice and stuff like that, he put some aside for her because she needed it very mild. So when it does come to spice, I give it a little bit of grace. I would be curious to know if it's always cayenne, if it is just hot sauce she's adding to things, or if it is something like if she is adding other things to it as well. So yeah, I don't think you're the asshole, but I also kind of get where your wife is coming from as somebody who does add hot sauce to even like chef prepared meals that I have all the time. Okay. So we're going to do, I think, one last one here. And this is from Sunflower Sweeties 95. And this is, am I the asshole for postponing my mother-son trip to support my wife? I promised my mother, 64 female, that I, 29 male, would go with her to Tanzania. She always wanted to go, and I talked about it for years. But since she divorced my dad over a decade ago, hasn't had anyone to go with. My wife, 27 female, pointed out that once we had children, the chances of me going on a 3-week vacation alone will be pretty low, and by the time our children grow up, my mother might be too old to travel long distances. So I told my mother I wanted to go with her. She cried. She was so happy. The trip was booked for March. My wife was nothing but supportive. Unfortunately, my wife and I had struggled to conceive. We had been trying for 2 years and moved countries recently away from my mother. I assured my mother the trip was still going ahead. My wife and I recently had our first round of IVF and it failed. The doctors had been confident because my wife is still young, but it didn't. My wife and I took this news hard, especially my wife. I wouldn't go into detail, but despite being only 27, my wife had some significant fertility issues. We found out that we'd probably never going to have a child, even with IVF. My wife's mental health after IVF failure declined, and what made matters worse is the day we found out it failed, I had to go on a 2-week business trip. My wife was left on her own in a new foreign country with no friends or family, starting a new job, grappling with this awful news on her own. I feel very bad for both of you. I am sorry that you have to go through that, and I can't imagine how hard that was for you to go away on a 2-week business trip. Right after that happened, my wife lost weight and is now under supervision by a psychiatrist and psychologist and medicated daily. When I came home, I saw my wife was skeletally thin and struggled to get out of bed every day. Leaving her on her own is not an option for the foreseeable. I called my mother and explained the situation. I told her I wanted to delay our trip by 10 weeks so that my wife could finish her treatment and come with us. It was a win-win. My mother gets her trip. I'm still a good son, but most importantly, I don't abandon my wife. Of course, I offered to pay for all the additional costs, including new flights, so my mother wouldn't be out of pocket. My mother was initially supportive. She said she understood and thought the compromise was sensible. She even offered to come see us in our new country in March to give us support. A week later, my mother called me and said she's disappointed about the trip being postponed and that we had let her down. She said with my wife coming that the trip would be different to what she expected. She said she couldn't handle the thought of potentially being postponed again. We never said it would be and no longer wanted to go on the trip at all. She said she never wanted to speak about the trip either. She canceled the flights and asked my wife and I to refund her for everything, which we did. Once we paid her back, she stopped answering my texts. She hasn't once reached out to my wife, who she's known for 10 plus years and knew how much children means to her. About the IVF, the trip, nothing. Or me. Am I the asshole? No, you are not. And I cannot stress that enough. You are not the asshole in this situation. That is insane. Like, that is not just your daughter-in-law. Like, that is also your son's potential future kids, and he must be devastated as well. He is playing it off, and I get, like, his wife is absolutely devastated, and I feel so bad for her, but this cannot be easy on him either. And they came up with a fair compromise, and then your mother to be like, yeah, no, that's totally fair, but and then to turn around a week later and be like, no, I don't want to go on the trip, I don't want to talk about it, to cut them off. Personally, I would go on the trip without her. I'd just go anyway and be like, fine, if you want to be like that, we're going to take this vacation so that we can have some time to get away. But that is not okay of your mother to treat you guys like that. You are grieving a loss. Whether you ever got pregnant or not, you're grieving a loss. And for her to act like it's no big deal and, oh, the trip's ruined. The trip? Who cares? If it was that big of a deal to her, she could go on that trip alone. Yeah, it's not as fun or whatever, and she may not have pictured it like that, but you can travel by yourself. So to sit there and get pissed off at your wife and everything, like, I am kind of just disgusted by that reaction. And if, say that was me in the mother's position and I heard all that shit was going on, oh no, this trip can happen whenever the hell you guys want to go. I don't care. We'll do it on your guys' timeline. My ass is flying out to see you guys, to support you guys. If that is what you want, I will be going out there to support you. End of story. I do not understand how your mother could make this about her. Like, you guys are grieving a loss and she is acting like you're just postponing it because for fun. Like, and you want to bring your wife now? Like, why is that such a big deal? Like, mothers like this drive me absolutely nuts. Like, that will always be your kid, but he is not your baby anymore, whatever you want to say. Like, he has a wife that he has responsibilities to, and if she is going through it to this bad of an extent where she can't barely get out of bed, she's a skeleton, he needs to be home, and you should be respecting that. Oh, that one really pissed me off. And I kind of just want to find something short and funny to finish up on that's not going to be as aggravating. Okay, this one's really short, and I think we'll just finish up on this one because we need a little bit of like a not so serious, not so rage inducing one to finish up on. So this is from Throwing Away Guinea Pig, and this is, am I the asshole for complaining about emptying the bathroom bin? I am the only male. On bin day, I empty the plastic bathroom bins into the garbage bag. I complained about having to unstick used panty liners from the side of the bathroom bins. My wife's opinion is that I should get used to it as I'm the only male. We have 2 daughters. Am I being unreasonable to refuse? No. You're not. If I was in that position, I wouldn't want to do that. There is 3 females in our house, and we don't have that problem. Like, it's not a thing, because when you replace it, you wrap it up. If it's the last one, put a piece of toilet paper around it, something. Like, it's not that hard to not get them stuck and to be respectful. That is just gross. And yeah, you're taking out the garbage. That's the least they can do, is just make sure that it is wrapped up so you don't have to touch it. I don't know how your garbage bins work. Maybe put in like another garbage bag so you're just taking that garbage bag out. Maybe that would help. But either way, like, respect thing, your wife kind of sucks. You're not the asshole. Don't worry, my friend. Yeah, so that was just like a lighter note to finish us up on for this episode. We're at the end of episode 2. So I just want to remind you guys again, please, if you like the videos, like, comment, subscribe. It really helps out the channel and all that fun stuff. If you're on Spotify, follow, whatever you want to do. I'm having a lot of fun doing these. We'll see. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts, but I was thinking of maybe also doing some creepypastas, because while I am a huge horror lover, I have not dived too deep into creepypastas. I was thinking maybe you're reading some of those as well. What do you guys think? Would you guys like that? Let me know. Again, go follow me on TikTok. It's Nonsensical Pod on TikTok, and I think it's Nonsensical Podcast on Instagram. I forget if those might be reversed. It's kind of hard to remember because I picked a podcast with a long name, and trying to fit it all in can be kind of hard. I do hashtag everything TNNP, so if you do want to find it that way as well on those apps, that you can find them. But yeah, thank you all for listening, and I love you all. I hope you have a great night, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!